Hello everyone! This week's video is a 800,000 subscriber special. I want to start by saying thank you all so much for helping this channel reach this milestone. I am so grateful for all the love and support you have shown me. I don't even think I have the words to express how much you have all impacted my life. But thank you so much for your support and for being a part of my art journey. I hope to continue to share it with you and that you'll continue to join me. So for this video, I'm going to be answering questions that you all left on my last video and on the community post that I made. I am also going to be kind of updating you all on my channel and changes that may be taking place in the near future. And I'm also going to be making an updated Chibi version of myself. This is kind of bittersweet for me. I've been using this Chibi for a long time, but for a while now, I've been feeling the need to update my Chibi, and I figured this would be a good time to do so. Anyways, let's jump into the video. I'm actually going to start by drawing over my pre-existing Chibi model. The reason I'm doing this is because I do want to update my Chibi, but I still want it to be very recognizable that it's me. I want to stay on brand, so to speak. So I am going to try to change and update things, but hopefully not fully change my Chibi's look. Now I will move on to questions, but I will comment on the process of making my Chibi in between questions. Also, I've broken up the questions into different topics. This first wave of questions will be focused around my original characters and stories. Which of your OCs has the saddest backstory? I had to think long and hard about this. My conclusion was Elliot. Elliot is kind of one of my lesser known OCs. I haven't drawn him a lot or at all recently, and I've never really talked about him on the channel much. His backstory is quite sad and kind of dark. I would say Pariah is tied with him when it comes to the contents of their backstory, but I say Elliot's is more sad because of how much Elliot is scarred from his past, whereas Pariah is still really young and hasn't been scarred as much, if that makes sense. Plus Pariah grew up with someone that did care about her, whereas Elliot was a runaway and didn't have anyone. Maybe I'll have to make a video on Elliot or something. But yeah, I'm gonna say Elliot, but a lot of my OCs have their own sad backstories in their own kind of ways. Do you have a pet OC? Like an OC you default to when you don't know what to draw? Right now I feel like my pet OC is Pariah or Samson. For some reason I always feel like drawing Samson. He's just really fun to draw. What is your favorite part of making your webcomic? I would say my favorite part is working on the art. It takes a lot of prep work until I actually get to start drawing. We have the writing, then we have the storyboards, and then I have to add word balloons, and then I can finally start drawing. Another favorite part is posting new chapters. I always love reading the comments. They make me smile, and some make me laugh really hard. Like, some of you really hate Zeke, and it amuses me how much I can make you hate a fictional person. Why don't you draw your old OCs anymore, like Tala and Elliot? I do find it funny that they mentioned Elliot and I was just talking about him. A lot of times I don't draw my older OCs because I don't totally remember what they look like. So I need to find old pictures of them to use as reference. Or it's because I want to redesign them. And a lot of times if I'm drawing OCs, I'm lazy and don't want to take time to find references. So I just draw whoever design I can remember. Like for example, Samson, I always kind of remember his design, and same with Pariah and Doris and Brayson and Chase and Annabelle. So yeah, I tend to just draw characters where I have their design memorized. And if I don't quite remember their design, I often tend to not draw them as much. Plus, like I said, some of my older OCs need a redesign. Like I want to redesign Elliot. Ooh, maybe that could be a video. I could redesign him. Maybe I'll do that sometime. Do you have any fandom OCs? No, I've never really made fandom OCs. I kind of see the appeal, but I've always preferred making my own worlds with characters. I guess I did make a Spider Sona one time, kind of back when that was a thing. And I've been seeing it trending kind of again since the new Spider-Verse movie came out. But that's kind of the only fandom OC I have. So a little bit about my Chibi. Like I mentioned, I'm trying to not change my Chibi too much. However, I did change some things like the hairstyle. For a while, I was parting my hair in the middle, and I do still sometimes, but I part it to the side more often, so I drew my hair in that way. Plus, then it matches my icon. I do find it funny that I did draw over my Chibi, but just with me making small adjustments and fixes, I feel like I ended up looking more different than I anticipated. But hopefully it'll still be very recognizable. Also, when working on the line art, I try my best to keep different parts of the line art separate, that way it's easier for me to change the rig as needed. This next batch of questions is mostly about YouTube and channel related topics. What happened to your storytime/gaming channel? You haven't posted in years. If you don't know, I have a second channel that has gone through many different changes. It used to be a storytime channel where I posted little animations about my life. Then it turned into like a chill, draw, and chat kind of channel. Then it turned into a gaming channel. I did actually really enjoy making the gaming videos. However, the TV that was in my room got taken out of my room, so I no longer had a spot to make the gaming videos. Plus, I did like making them, but I kind of learned that I prefer to keep playing video games as a fun side thing just for myself. I didn't like worrying about recording myself playing or trying to make content. When you're a content creator, it can be tempting to take a lot of the different things you do and try to make them into content. But it's important to have hobbies and interests outside of that realm, and something that's just for you. I do sometimes think about doing things besides art videos on my second channel, but I haven't really had time for that. If you weren't a YouTuber, what would you most likely be doing? I feel like I've answered this before, but I always find the answer funny. I would be an accountant because that's what I went to college for. I'm really glad I'm not an accountant. I much prefer being able to create art. What advice would you give someone who wants to start their own YouTube art journey? The first one is when you are starting out, don't be afraid to play around with different video formats and finding what you like or what works best for you. When I started my channel, I was learning to draw manga, and I was really dedicated to sticking to making tutorials. But after a while, I knew it was something I wanted to veer away from a bit. But I didn't let myself because I had decided at the start that I would mostly do tutorials. But eventually I decided to make the change and let myself be a bit more free with my video content and ideas. And that's when I changed from learn to draw manga to love to draw manga. So yeah, don't trap yourself in a box right at the start. Let yourself experiment and find what you enjoy making the most. My second piece of advice is to just do it. A lot of times it can feel intimidating to start a YouTube channel and you want to wait until you're ready, but a lot of times you'll never truly feel ready, so you might as well just start now. I do think if you are really young, it might be better to wait until you are older to start posting online, mostly because I think it's good for young artists to avoid outside pressures of social media. I didn't start YouTube until I was 17, and I didn't have any art posting accounts until I was 18. Have you ever been recognized in public? Thankfully, I have not. I'm kind of scared if I ever do get recognized. How did you get confident sharing your art with millions of people to see? What is your favorite old piece of art? Honestly, I'm still not very confident. If I take a moment to sit back and think about how many people watch my videos and see my art, it feels really intimidating, so I try not to think about it. It did also help that I didn't start out with lots of people seeing my stuff. My channel has slowly grown over the years. As for my favorite old piece of art, one that often sticks in my mind is a mermaid picture I did a few years back for a video. It's not super old, but it is a bit older. I'd still quite like it. I do see things that are off about it, but I do still like the background and how it turned out. Which YouTuber would you like to meet the most? Who is your biggest inspiration in terms of art? If I could meet one YouTuber in person, I think it'd be Rinspirit Art. She's so nice and friendly. And I feel like it'd be fun to just like go to a cute cafe and draw with her or something. When it comes to my biggest inspiration, this might sound bad, but right now I don't really have a biggest inspiration. This year I feel like my art hasn't been as much of a priority. It's been put on the back burner with all of the things going on in life. So I haven't done a ton of looking at and studying people's art like I used to do. After the wedding and once I get settled into my new living situation, I'm hoping I'll be able to focus on it a bit more. In the worst case scenario that YouTube fails for whatever reason, what would you be doing instead? Another art related thing or something else? This is something I have thought about and I hope it never happens, but I think I would still try to work in the social media space, like maybe as a social media manager or some kind of content editor. I would still pursue art to an extent, but it would have to be on the back burner for sure. I would just try to look for any jobs that use my skills. Before moving on to the next questions, I want to talk about the chibi a bit more. Like with the line art, for the base colors, I make sure to keep them all separate on their own layers. I also make the different eyebrows so I can make different faces. I will make another mouth here soon in the footage. Oh, and the irises have all of their layers in their own folders, so they are easy to move around later. One thing a few of my siblings commented on is the fact that I gave this chibi more of a chest. I think for all of my chibis, I've never really given them much of a chest, but I did it this time around because I thought maybe it would help people stop assuming I'm like a young child or something. So yeah, that's another change I made. Anyways, back into the questions. Is YouTube your dream job, or did you have something else you wanted to do? Like, just for an example, did you want to make comics for a living but just stopped at YouTube? And has it been harder to make new chapters in your comics since you're planning a wedding and life stuff going on? YouTube has become my dream job, but it didn't start out that way. Like I said, I went to college for accounting, but on the side I had started my YouTube channel. And then when I was in my final semester of college, my channel started growing more and I started posting more because I only had 2 easy classes that semester. So I graduated but never really pursued a job in accounting because honestly I had horrible social anxiety and I felt like I wouldn't be able to handle a job without having an anxiety attack every day. So instead of trying to get a job, I focused on growing my YouTube channel, and thankfully my parents were really supportive of that and they saw that I was growing and had potential, so they let me keep working on it. At the time they didn't really know about my anxiety issue, so they thought I kind of just didn't really want to work and that I just wanted to work on my YouTube channel instead, when really at the time it kind of felt like it was my only option. But over time my channel continued to grow, and it did grow to the point that it can support me like a normal job does. And that's because of all of you and all of the support you have shown me. So yeah, it didn't start out as my dream job, but has grown into my dream job. Also, I just want to clarify my social anxiety isn't nearly as bad as it used to be. I've grown better at managing it, and it's reduced a lot over the years. For making chapters of my webcomic, yes, it is a bit more tricky. I am hoping I'll be able to focus on it more once I'm married and settled in. I feel like I'm saying that for quite a few of these questions. Speaking of getting married, this next batch of questions is related to my life and will also include my plans for the future of this channel. Will there be a wedding vlog? Most likely not. I'm already preparing for my wedding day to be hectic and a bit stressful, and I don't want to worry about filming a vlog. However, I do plan to do a tour of what will be my office. I don't have an office at the moment, I just work in the family room. But once my fiance and I are married, I will move into the apartment we are renting, and there I will have an office. So I'm looking forward to setting that up and showing it all to you. Will you ever draw your My Next Door Neighbor OCs after the series ends? Do you think your videos will be harder to make or take longer after the wedding? I most likely still will draw the characters from My Next Door Neighbors, but kind of like with the characters from my first comic, Anne and Aiden, I'm sure I'll draw them less as time passes, and I'll draw other characters more. It is kind of sad to think about since I do love them all. I actually think making videos will become easier after I'm married. The first reason being that I will live with my fiance, who will then be my husband, so work will be more accessible. Right now, if he and I want to hang out, I need to go to his place, and my work stuff isn't over there, and sometimes he will come to my family's house to hang out while I work, but it will be nice when we are able to live in the same space that has all of our stuff. The second reason is that I will be alone in an apartment with no distractions, at least while Josh is at work. I love my family, but they do interrupt my work a good amount, so I'm thinking I'll be able to get more done once I'm moved out. That being said, things will change after I am married, and that is something I want to talk about. I got a decent amount of questions about the channel and if things will change after I'm married, so I'm going to take some time to update you all on my future plans for this channel. So right now the wedding is a little over a month away. I am excited for it and a bit nervous because I'm not 100% sure I've done everything I'm supposed to, but it'll probably all go well. I hope. When it comes to my YouTube content leading up to the wedding, nothing should change. I'm trying to schedule everything so I can work and get content put out as usual. However, after the wedding, I may need to skip posting a video or two, mostly because I will be settling into a new space and Josh and I plan to go on a trip after the wedding. So yeah, content leading up to the wedding should be the same, but the first couple of weeks after may have less videos. And after I get settled in and get back into the swing of things, I may try to experiment with my channel a bit and try some new things. Because I am getting married and am settling down, so to speak, I do want to think about sustainability for my channel and being able to keep up with it as my life changes. I did get questions on if we plan to have kids, and the short answer is yes, we do. So that's something I'm starting to think about. Some things I want to try to change or work on after the wedding is I'm going to possibly be posting shorter videos. I tend to post videos that are about 20 minutes long. However, later this year, I think I may aim to make shorter videos, something closer to 12 to 15 minutes. This would make videos faster to get done and allow more time for other things. Like I want to try to be posting on other social media platforms more, making YouTube shorts, and allowing myself to focus more on drawing and improving my abilities, plus my personal projects. Plus then, as I'm transitioning into becoming a parent, shorter 12 to 15 minute videos feel more manageable. So yeah, don't worry, I'm not going to quit YouTube anytime soon, but I do plan to experiment and possibly make some changes later this year, and I hope you'll stick with me during this changing time. Here's a more simple life question. Do you think after you're married you'll get a pet? My fiance and I have both talked about getting some fish. We both aren't really pet people. We like pets, but we'd rather visit people who have pets instead of have ones of our own. But we both think having some fish would be neat. So a little bit more about the chibi. Once I drew all of the different items, like different eyes and iris placements, different mouths, my hand that pops up, and so on, I can move on to saving different versions of myself, making the different faces. This part isn't very hard, but is very tedious, especially since I'm trying to remember what faces I saved and which ones I haven't. It's all quite a process. I do want to mention that before I saved my expressions, I let myself take a break from working on the chibi. I think I waited until the next day. That way I was able to spot anything that I didn't like or wanted to change. It's way easier to change things before I save all the different expressions, because if I want to change anything, I have to resave all of the faces. And that's a lot of work, so I prefer trying to avoid doing that. This last batch of questions is kind of just a random assortment along with some fun, silly ones. What are some of your favorite anime, and what's your favorite Bible verse? Some of my favorite anime are Haikyuu, Link Click, Snow White with the Red Hair, Yumiro Patisserie. It's been a while since I've watched any anime. I feel like I need to try to find some new favorites, but a lot of times when I start new ones, I end up stop watching them for different reasons, like I get bored, or I'm just not really liking the content of the show. So if you know any newer anime that are decently clean, let me know down in the comments. As for favorite Bible verse, one I often go back to is Joshua 1:9. Be strong and courageous, do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. As a person who's often afraid, I need to tell myself this one often. How can you find your rendering style? I found the style I want to use for characters, but I always change the way I'm rendering and can't settle on anything. That's a tricky one, mostly because I also have different ways of rendering as well. I have different rendering styles for different things. Like for finished pieces that I spend a lot of time on, I'll get more fancy with the rendering. However, if I need to get the piece done faster, I'll go more simple. And for projects like my webcomic, it'll be even simpler. Then I also have my digital painting style that's often really different. So yeah, I'm not sure what to say for this, but I wouldn't get too discouraged by it. Experimentation is good, and I'm sure after time you'll start to find techniques that you like and want to stick with a bit more. You'll eventually start building up habits. Favorite Disney princess? What's your current favorite movie? My favorite Disney princess is Rapunzel. She's adorable and I love her. I never really have favorite movies because it's really hard to decide. But right now I really like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. The animation is so good. And my siblings got to watch it recently, so it's been fun seeing them watch it. But yeah, the animation is so good. Do you like cheese? Yes, I love cheese. Does your fiance draw or have any hobbies? My fiance collects model trains, and more recently also Pokemon cards. We've been having Pokemon card battles and building decks. It's a lot of fun. He also plays video games. He's been playing Tears of the Kingdom alongside me, so that's been fun. What's your favorite ice cream flavor? My favorite flavor is mint chip. It's just really refreshing and I really like it. Also, I saw there's going to be a Splatfest and one of the teams is mint chip, and I was so excited. I'm totally going to be team mint chip. What has been your favorite part about doing YouTube? I would say my favorite part is being able to connect with all of you. Being able to share my work with all of you is really great, and I love hearing that my work inspires you, helps you, or that you enjoy my videos. I also think it's really neat being able to look back at my old videos and seeing how things have changed. I have definitely learned a lot over the years, and I hope my content continues to grow and improve. Well, those are all the questions for this video, and here's my new chibi rig. What do you think? I do feel like it's an improvement and that I was able to stick close enough to my other chibi that it's still recognizable, but it's still going to take a while for me to get used to this chibi. Whenever I update my chibi, it's a bit jarring. Thank you so much to everyone that asked questions, and thank you so much again for 800,000 subscribers. It truly means so much to me, and it's crazy how close we're getting to 1 million. That's really, really crazy. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next week in my next video. Oh, also, I know I updated my chibi, but I'm not going to bother updating my outro. I still like it, and I don't really want to take the time to change it right now. Okay, bye!